I'm here with Sonia to talk about Cobra Spell 666, the number of the beast in this case, out December 1st on Napalm Records. Thank you very much for taking the time. First time that we get to talk about music, about you, about your band. I'm super excited. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. The sun has shined today, and yeah, it's a good day. I'm doing well.
So let me start off by asking you this. When it came to Cobra Spell, this is the debut record. There's been a few lineup changes leading up to this debut record.
Mhm.
What in your mind made the current lineup the right lineup for the debut album?
So the band indeed changed a lot from the beginning, and this is also because of the evolution of the career of Cobra Spell. Cobra Spell started as a side project. So in the time that I started Cobra Spell, I was being a guitar player in Burning Witches, and yeah, Cobra Spell started as a little side project, as a passion thing, and I didn't have that much of attention. And this led for me to choose musicians that were living far away and that didn't have 100% how to say it priority to Cobra
Mhm.
Spell. So Cobra Spell was more like a passion project. We didn't really take it that serious. And this is also how the first EP was released. And later on, I was seeing that Cobra Spell was catching quite a lot of attention, certainly with the second EP releasing Anthems of the Night. We had the single Addicted to the Night, which was received very, very well. And I was seeing that the music that I was making with Cobra Spell, the music that I really enjoy making because it was based on a childhood dream that I have, was starting this band, though I didn't really follow it. Um, yeah, and I was being part of other bands at that time, and also in Crypta, and my full attention was on those bands instead of in Cobra Spell. And leading up to the decision that I took, because I saw that Cobra Spell was growing, I thought, what if I, start focusing my energy on that what really makes me happy, which is playing in my own band, creating the music that I love since my childhood, what inspired me to make music. And due to that decision, it meant that Cobra Spell became a band that requires a lot of time, because if Cobra Spell became that band that is gonna now play a lot, it's gonna tour, and this means that all the musicians in the band need to be able to do that. And this led, for example, that our previous singer Alex, left the band because he wasn't able to tour longer than a week. So we needed a singer that could tour longer than a week, and this is how Christina came in. And yeah, the other members that came out and got replaced for other members were due to the what it requires to be in a band that is in the level that Cobra Spell is getting. We got signed with Napalm Records. A lot of deadlines came in. When you're touring, you need to be very professional, and this is something that not everyone could commit to. And yeah, due to this situations, the band needed to change to be professional enough to take the level that it takes to what we were doing right now, and to be ready for a full length album and to everything that's coming. And right now the band is better than ever. Everyone is very professional. The girls are very kind. They're very hardworking. They share the same dream, which is very, very extremely important. When you're in a band, you all have to be in the same page. And yeah, right now I feel like Cobra Spell is stronger than ever, and it's the beginning because we're on our first album, so it's a fresh
Yeah,
start.
the road ahead is bright, I must say. And I think one of the great things about this album is that I don't know if it answers a lot of questions, but it creates a lot of more questions about what the future has in store for you and the band, because it's kind of like an opening of the door and lets everybody see what a full length record looks like. But it also lets us see that there's so much room for you guys to grow and do so many other things and really take this band forward. Now, once you guys start looking at the record, like, okay, we're going to put out an album, we have to work towards the album. How was the journey from the vision that you had for what you wanted the full length album to be, and then actually creating that album?
All right, so actually it was very, very spontaneous. I didn't have a concept in mind from the beginning. I was seeing that the songs were taking shape to a certain direction, lyric-wise, and there is not one concept in the album. There is, I would say, two different concepts. You have women empowerment going on in this album, lyric-wise, and you have themes that are more about being a black sheep in a certain situation, certainly regarding religion. And these two themes are spread around the songs that are being in this album. And yeah, honestly, I didn't plan in beforehand to make an album that was going that way. I was just making songs that resonated me in a personal level, composition wise and lyric wise, and they were taking shape into that direction. And that's how I saw, oh, I see that this album is gonna go that way. I see it's a very rebellious album. It's a very dark album in some kind of aspects, because I'm speaking about very personal matters. And yeah, and so that's why it's not that planned. I would say it's more of a spontaneous process. It took around one and a half year to compose and write until we entered the studio to record it.
One of the main things you touched on something that I think it's really important about women empowerment. When I was listening to this record, obviously the 80s vibe is alive and well on this record. And if I go back to the 80s, there was a lot of bands playing that sort of style sound of hard rock metal, but they were all dudes, and they were very, I don't know, for lack of a better term, very misogynistic. It was all about dudes being dudes. You guys kind of flipped that and made girls be girls, and you guys are the ones controlling the situation. You guys are the ones empowering. So you guys kind of flip it 180 from what the 80s were all about, kept the sound, but made it girls in the forefront. How cool is that? Because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of young girls listening to you guys and saying, hey, if they can do it, we can do it.
You totally got the essence of what we are about, because playing the genre is kind of like a little bit shocking for some people when you're a woman. For some people to see a glam rock band as a let me try to re-explain try to find the right words for this. It can be for women intimidating to express in the way we do, because we are being very sexy, kind of like we are expressing ourselves very shockingly. Our lyrics are indeed coming from a genre that is male dominated, and we are singing lyrics that were normally sung by men that were kind of like misogynistic sometimes in their lyrics. Think about bands like Wasp. They had songs like "Fuck Like a Beast," and there were certain very steady roles for women and men. Men had to be the rock stars, and the women had to be the groupies. And we are kind of like changing this up, because we are now the rock stars, and we want to normalize that. We want to show that we are totally capable to do it as well, to be the rock stars here, and we can express in the way we do. And that doesn't mean that we're only doing it for attention, or we are seeking for some kind of how to say it, verification, or we're not a money machine or whatever. We are also passionate about the music. I am terribly passionate about the 80s music, and I am doing this for passion. I am doing this because I love the aesthetic. I love the shock rock scene. I love Alice Cooper, and as a woman, I want to be able to do this without getting sexist comments or unsolicited messages from people telling me that I'm just doing it for the attention. You know what I mean? So it's definitely necessary in this current moment that we live in to have a band like Cobra Spell, an all-female band that express themselves in this way, because I think we can be role models for young women out there that feel intimidated in a male-dominated music scene. And yeah, I just tried to be that women that I wanted to that I wish I saw when I was little, because
Yeah,
all I saw.
there was none, as far as I remember, in the 80's, like at least not an all women's band doing what you guys are doing here. I mean, you talk about Wasp, you have Steel Panther now kind of, making fun of, but bringing that glam rock into the present, but nobody's doing it the way you guys are doing it, at least not an all-female band. And I think it takes a lot of balls, for lack of a better word, because there's going to be a lot of people who are going to send you messages who are not going to understand what you guys are trying to do and who you
And it's
guys are
sad.
trying to be.
It's sad that a lot of people still don't understand. Mostly they're a little bit antiquated, old people. I'm sorry that I say it, but most of the people that think that we're doing something weird are the old people, and we have a lot of support from the younger generation because they understand our point. And I hope that that people can understand our statement, and our lyrics are mostly like female empowerment. They show the women in power. Songs like "Satan is a Woman." We're reversing that role again. The certain religious entities are always visualized as a male, as male. And in this case, we're saying Satan is a woman. Like God is a woman. There are songs that are like God is a woman. We wrote Satan is a woman. Yeah, and we also have songs about inclusion. In Love is Love, for example. And yeah, so we're trying to be we're trying to make a statement with this album, a real statement.
And speaking of Love is Love, you guys had some saxophone there, which was really nice. But what inspired you to bring that kind of element into a song like that?
It was kind of spontaneous. It wasn't planned at all in the demos. I was at the studio sitting next to the producer. His name is Alejandro Gabasa. In Madrid we were, and I was planning to improvise a guitar solo there, just to make something fun, rock. The direction of the song, I would say, is more adult-oriented rock. It's a more melodic song. It's synthesizer-based song, very melodic. And I don't know why I had this feeling that this song sounds a lot like a 80's movie track. And I thought, why not add a saxophone solo? I hear a saxophone solo instead of a guitar solo. Let's try something. But none of us plays the saxophone, so we had to find a saxophonist. So our producer Alejandro has a lot of fantastic contacts, a lot of musicians he knows in Madrid, and he contacts Nata Estevez, which is a student from a conservatorium, and he plays excellent the saxophone. And he improvised a precious solo on top of that song. I loved it. I'm so glad I didn't record anything with the guitar on there. The saxophone fits perfectly there. And who knew that it could work for a rock song? So there it is.
It works. It works.
It works.
And it's nice because the album has also a very old school style, because you have the album broken down with a ballad in the middle. Following the battle, you have Love Equals Love, which is not a ballad, but it still has some softer moments in it. But the two halves of the record are very equal. I would say the only thing that really changes is the first half, you have the intro and there's an interlude, and the second half is more down to business. But all around, there's a very old school style approach with the album. Was that your idea from the beginning? If we're going to do an album that's inspired by the 80's, the design of the record has also to represent that same era?
I think I didn't even think that much about it. I'm so used to compose Cobra Spell music and 80's inspired music because it's my passion. I just love it so much that my music always sounds like the 80's. So that there is some songs that sound a little bit more like heavy metal. Mm-hmm. There's some songs that sound a little bit more like hard rock, more sleazy. Some even go to the power metal side, I would say. but they're all infused with an 80s approach. And I think it's because I just listen to a lot of that kind of music. My playlist is full of 80s. It's 80s pop music. It's 80s AOR. It's 80s glam, 80s everything. And because I only listen to that music, my songwriting becomes kind of that direction, because I love to analyze the progressions of the music back then, and I try to take away everything, like every single melody I absorb. I think that's what makes the songwriting overall 80s, and just the production is modern. So that's why I think Cobra Spell sounds the way it does, because the influences that are like printed in the formula that I have when I write the music.
I felt like listening to it, there were three main influences, for lack of a better word. You have the glam rock, you have the metal side of the 80's, but you have the arena rock. I think you refer to as power metal. I refer to more as arena because it's sounds like larger than life. Like, not, you know, a lot of bands in the 80's played rock music and glam rock, but not all of them could play in an arena, so you needed that big sound. And I felt like you guys really balance out the album really well with those three styles throughout the whole record. But the production was really good, and specifically with the bass, because you not always hear bass or get the bass on albums like this. But I thought you guys walked a very fine line where you could hear the bass, but the bass doesn't get in the way of the vocals and the guitars. uh how much of that was your mindset of how you wanted the production to be that way, and how much was in the hands of the producer?
So I already had in mind from the beginning how I wanted it to sound. um Personally, as I said, my passion for the 80s is huge, but I want a more modern production for the music that I make, because I want it to sound good on the on Spotify, on Apple. I want the music to sound great. And the examples that I used for our mixing guys and mastering guys, we work with fantastic producers from Fascination Street. I don't know if you know these guys. They're based in Sweden and work with many amazing bands. And what I love about their production is that it sounds so crystal clear, so but yet so organic. And that's what I wanted from the album, is that it sounds crystal clear and organic, not compressed, so that I can hear what's going on in the music. Certainly with that bass, for me, it's very important that it shines through a little bit. It has to that you can hear what the bass line is doing, that it's not disappearing. And it really in the studio together with the producer before that whole mixing process, we really took a lot of time to choose the right guitar tones and bass tones. For every single song has a different combination of amplifiers, so not the whole album. We're not using the whole album the same amplifier. We're using I tracked guitar left and guitar right with different amplifiers, and the bass in the middle with a different amplifier. For example, we had a combination for sometimes a Marshall amplifier and a Soldano. And then for the whole album, we have high watt with bass, which is a very nice amplifier that has very nice low frequencies and very nice high frequencies. And those high frequencies is what makes the bass cut through the mix. And I really like that, to have an nice MIDI guitars on the sides and to have a nice cutting through bass. And that's exactly what I wanted in the album, because you get a very nice modern open production. And yeah, every song asked for a different combination of guitars. For the more heavy songs, we chose Soldano and I don't remember the name of this amplifier that we used. What was it? I forgot the name of it. I see it in front of my. Oh yeah, Mesa triple rectifier. I believe dual rectifier or triple rectifier. I don't remember which one it was. Together with a Soldano, and for the more hard rock songs, we used Marshall in combination, sometimes with a Friedman and sometimes with a Soldano. So, or sometimes Marshall and Marshall. it was kind of depending on the song what would fit the best, but the bass has always been the high watt. I'm sorry, I could talk about this for
when you guys
I'm very upset.
when you guys go on tour, you're gonna need a truck just for all the amps and for everything. I can only imagine the crew. It's gonna be quite something. You know, writing songs with a male vocalist in mind, and now writing songs with a female vocalist in mind. Did that change for you, like the process, or everything stayed the same?
I think we're a little bit in the process still. For Christina, this is the first release. She like the first album she is part of. I mean, the first album of the band too. But we're kind of finding our ways to work together. In Cobra Spell history, it always has been myself, the one that comes up with the vocal melodies, and I deliver the demos with my own voice to the singer. So I would record like the voices, like "Addicted to the Night," and then I would. And it sounds funny, but and it sounds very bad because I'm not a singer. I like to play the guitar, but I have some ideas in my head, and I have to record them, and I deliver them to the vocalist, and then the vocalist adapts it to the voice and the range that they have, with a harmony that I have recorded, and they make it in their own way. And this is also the method that we have had for 666. So I recorded all the melody harmonies, all the vocal lines, and I delivered them to Christina, and obviously she does a much better job, and she made it sound amazing, and she recorded everything at the studio in very fast. I don't remember how many days. It was like 2 or 3 days, but she did an incredible job.
I remember when you start putting out material with Cobra Spell, even before this full length record, before the singles, when the EP start coming out and all of that stuff. I saw some comments online, like, you know, because you were with Burning Witches. That's how I discovered your guitar playing, was with Burning Witches, then obviously with Crypta. And I see some comments like, oh my God, like, you know, she was like creating all these crazy riffs and sounded amazing, and now she's moving into this sound that's so different. Do you feel like some people don't understand that this genre still allows you to be an extraordinary guitar player and exercise your chops the same way as if you were creating a death metal song?
Well, firstly, thank you so much for saying that. Um, it's not for everyone what I do, and that's okay. Everyone has his own tastes, and what I did with Crypta was what I needed at that time. You know, I'm very thankful that I have been part of that first album with Crypta. I'm very proud of that moment, and I cherish the experience that I have built from writing those riffs and recording it at the studio, and you know, being part of all of that. And I'm still a fan of Crypta. I am following their careers, and I even went to see them live very recently as audience. But my dream lays in creating 80s hard rock, heavy metal. It's what got me into music, and I'd rather choose for that makes me happy than to do something what the people want from me. And I think it's just being true to myself as a musician, and being authentic to the people that listen to what I make. And to stay authentic, to listen to my true self, I needed to commit myself to that band that allows me to be free creatively, which is in Cobra Spell. And I'm kind of a little bit crazy when it comes to melodies and music. My head goes crazy when I hear something. I need to record it. I need to follow that voice that I have in my head. And Cobra Spell allows me to explore that. It's like a playground. And I feel very happy when I can do that. And I know the death metal fans will be a little bit disappointed that I do that, but I need to do it to be a happy person. And
at the end of the day, it's about you.
I mean, it's about everyone should live their own life in their own way. I think it's fair to me to live my own life and do what makes me happy. And I see there's a lot of people that like this Cobra Spell music, and I'm very glad that we can release the first album with Napalm Records. It means that there is an audience that enjoys this music, and I'm seeing the reviews are fantastic, and apparently there is people that enjoy this, so great. And also Crypta has released a second album and it's going amazing, and their guitar player is fantastic, so
it's a win-win.
Why should we complain?
Yeah, it's a win-win. So last question for you. The album comes out December 1st at the end of 2023. You have 2024 rolling up. Are we going to see a North American tour with Cobra Spell and Unto Others?
Damn. Wow, that's a good question.
I think the world needs it. At least us here in North America, we need it. I know I would. I would love to see that lineup.
Well, let me think. So firstly, I would love to come to North America. Man, it's in my dream to play there, because I have only visited there as a visitor, certainly in Canada. We have a lot of like fantastic fans in Canada. In the United States, we have fantastic fans that have been supporting us since the release of the first EP. And it's my dream to tour there. And I don't care with which band it will be. I will play there. And yeah, it would be a little bit difficult, because one of the members of Unto Others is my ex-boyfriend. So it would be a little bit complicated, that situation. But in my honest opinion, I love their music. I love the music that they make. Unto Others make super catchy songs. I support their music, and if there wasn't that complicated situation, I totally would. From my part, I would actually.
Okay, so maybe if that's complicated, I didn't know that was the situation currently. Otherwise, I wouldn't have asked this question and put you on the spot. So
because one of the members is ex-member of Cobra Spell.
See, but there's also that connection there.
But I'm not a person that holds grudges. I'm peaceful. I don't lie. I'm always the person that stays silent, and
you just go on about your life.
I just want to do my thing.
Yeah, live and let live.
Yeah, if I would get the chance to do so, I would. But I know that from the other side, it wouldn't be that way.
Maybe a Steel Panther and Cobra Spell. Maybe that.
Yes. I'm sure that could be more possible.
That would be really interesting, because we would get women empowerment and then we get sleazy guys right after. So it's like, you get the yin and the yang. I think it would be the audience's mind would just be blown to pieces. Like, you know what I mean?
That would be so much fun. It would be terribly fun. And I would really like to jam with Seychelles, the guitar player from Steel Panther. He's a fantastic guitar player. His riffs are mind-blowing. They're simple but so catchy. I think I
don't think they get enough credit. I think everybody looks at them as a fun band, but I don't think they give them enough credit as musicians. And I think that's an issue with glam rock in general. Like, even if you look back at bands in the 80's, they were really good as musicians, but I don't think people gave them the credit as how good they were as musicians. They just saw them as kind of like like a spectacle, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, and can you imagine they're playing with just one guitar player? Everything is just one guitar player. I have a lot of respect for getting that massive sound in that way. Is pretty cool. Great guitar player for sure.
Well, Sonia, thank you very much for your time. This was a blast, a pleasure to finally have you on the channel to talk about Cobra Spell. Best of luck to you and the ladies. On December 1st, the album comes out on Napalm Records 666. Go check them out. Go stream it. Go pick it up. Make it, I love that. Make it a Christmas gift for your loved ones. So put it under their tree if that's the thing you like to do. And thank you very much for your time once again.
Well, thank you so much for the nice words and for getting us out there on your platform. And and I'm very, very excited if sometime in the future, maybe next year, maybe the next one, come to the North American region from the world. I would love to come there. I know we have a lot of close fans. I'm talking about Kurt, for example, who's probably not watch this. Well, and thank you so much for giving us a platform to share.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. Pleasure.
All right.